Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today we're taking a look at from the Transformers Legacy line. This is Deluxe Class Autobot Skids. It is the first of the Deluxe Class figures in the Legacy line we will be taking a look at. I have a little bit of an affection for Skids, so that's why we're starting off with him. As you can see, the vehicle mode, we have like it armored up, if you will. First, we have on the sides here nice reproductions of the classic G1 weapons. Now, if you remember, the original toy came with 3 weapons, 2 that look like this, and a third one that was like a neutered spring-loaded missile launcher, if you lived in the United States. But instead of getting that, we have this cool Energon blaster axe weapon. You got ports here on the side, a port here on the front that's also doubles as the barrel. If you remember, in Legacy, the big gimmick now is going to be combining weapons. This is made of translucent clear plastic, so be careful. Again, it's not a question of if, but when, although I think this will hold up a little bit better than a joint or anything like that. Removing the other weapons just to demonstrate, you do have some combining abilities. One thing they show off is there is a port here underneath that single-barreled blaster that you can just pop that together like this. And as you'll see in robot mode, this actually kind of fits on Skids a little bit better, since with that single-barrel blaster, just pull it apart again, you do have that longer handle that sticks out. And of course, should you desire, you can do something like that, bring it all together, you know, have like a super combined weapon. But looking at Skids proper, this is a changed just enough for legalities Honda City. I think that's right, Honda City, which, if you remember, in 2021 just celebrated like a 40th anniversary or something like that. This is the most beloved car in Japan. I mean, it's a cultural institution. That's why Skids got a masterpiece figure out of all the characters. And then it's got the repaint, reboost came out right away, because the red version of the City is the best-selling car in the history of Japan. And don't forget, we do have a crosscut coming down the line, and maybe, hopefully, possibly a black repaint. Back in the day, when Diaclone, they loved this mold, and the original mold, and they did a lot of repaints. Hard to describe this car. It's sort of like a mini van, like a subcompact van. I want to say there's 4 seats. I think it's really actually only 2, and then this whole section here is storage, but it's a great car. I mean, people in Japan love it. They take up very little space, get great gas mileage, apparently. So, I mean, I'm not a car guy, so I'm just going by what I've heard and read. But rolls quite nicely. Really does look very accurate to the original G1 toy. I think that was, again, a little bit of a push from Takara, that instead of giving it the, animation toy nudge, to really put the effort into Skids to make it look like that car, the original City, since I'm sure this is going to probably be the best-selling figure out of Legacy. So enough of my ramblings and diatribes. Let's pause, and we'll take a closer look at the figure. Before we take a look at the transformation of the figure, one thing I wanted to do was present to you the new boxes for Legacy, and just talk about them real quick. This is what they look like. Unlike Kingdom and Earthrise, you now have, instead of a slanted edge here, you have this double, almost like a triangle protrusion. Like it's a curved edge, it's a slope here. Basically, it makes it that much harder to store the boxes, since they can't overlap and won't sit flush next to each other. I am not thrilled with that. The other 3 sides are all flat, and, well, this is angled, but yeah, that's going to really be an issue. The bigger thing is that I want to talk about is, and I mentioned this with Bulkhead, this is the first line that's going to have the full push of Hasbro's new environmentally friendly packaging. So you have no window here. The box is overall smaller than previous deluxe size boxes. You know, for example, Buzzworthy Bumblebee B127 was actually in a much smaller box than the original Studio series. So it actually fit the box a bit better. The toy didn't look like it was floating in space, but you're also missing the plastic tray, and that's actually a bigger issue because this is very thin cardboard. It's actually thinner than I remember it being, and I am already hearing horror stories from people buying the figures off of Amazon of the back boxes becoming horribly crushed and damaged. Let me just point out right here, you have this extra ornamental greebling on the front that can very easily become chewed and mangled in the shipping process, even being put into a shipping box for shipped to your home, sale, what have you. Also, one thing I am hearing that no one really thought about is a lot of people are getting figures covered in dust. Now, I don't know if it's just airborne dust or the particles from the packaging, be it boxes, padded mailers, whatever. The fact of the matter is they're getting their figures covered in something, and that's not great. I've also heard stories of the figures coming damaged in the packaging, but that could be from the shipping from the factories, from the warehouse, who knows. But it is, again, something else to keep in mind. Now, one thing I do find interesting is that Hasbro is still using the plastic twist ties to secure the figures in the boxes. So, and just looking at the amount of plastic they're using there, they could have put a window on the box. And I'm already hearing rumors that with early leaked samples of Wave 2 in packaging, they do have windows. Could be for an international market thing, could be just a mistake, who knows. Also, when it comes to the tech specs and the little bios now, you basically have a QR code you have to scan. I haven't scanned Bulkheads, but I did scan Skids. It's nothing to write home about. It's a simple little thing. I would have liked it also maybe. It's a little motion, and the figure, there's like a little CGI motion animation of the figure. Would have liked to have wallpaper. That would have been cool. You go there, you can get like a little wallpaper of the character, maybe some action shots, who knows. But it is what it is. The bigger issue is, to summarize, this is going to be a very hard box to store. It's not going to protect your figures well, and you got to be really extra careful now when ordering online that the box is going to be packed well, because even if you don't keep the boxes, and I do hear a lot from collectors who don't keep the packaging, and that's great and that's fine, but you still, I would assume that you also don't want to get an item, a transformer, an action figure that looks like it's been mangled. So that's about it for this little diatribe. We will now continue on to the transformation. Okay, so transformation is fairly easy for Skids. Start things off. First thing you want to do is come underneath the figure, and you want to rotate the wheels in, just like the back wheels, I should say, just like that. That is something. These come folded out in the packaging, and I've seen some reviews where they forget until the very end to fold them in or out. It's an aesthetic thing. I mean, the figure will stand fine with them out or in, but it is a nice little nod to the original toy. Next thing what you want to do is come around the sides and pop the doors open, and at the same time, if it hasn't happened already, pop the roof. I have heard issues of this roof not staying in place, not popping down in place. Do you want to mention doors, roof, windshield, all clear plastic, all on hinges with pins. Not a question of if, but a question of when, depending on how you handle your figure, that it will break. Next, what you want to do is fold out this back section like so. On mine, it's a little bit on the tight side. That will start to extend the legs. Come up underneath, fold up those black panels. I guess you can, at this point, you can separate the legs. And you got a little squat skids. The arms here are pegged into this black section. So when going from robot to vehicle, make sure you do feel them push down onto those tabs. You want to now lift them up, just like so. And this will now allow you to hinge out the torso and the hips. When going to car mode, you want to make sure when flipping up that black section, it is pushed all the way up against that little red hinge, past that little blue divot. So you're going to bring that out right now on that black section and then fold it up on the hip. Will sort of friction into place and stay. It really will be secured when we bring down the top part here. Next, what you want to do is flip the arms out to the side, bring them out as far as they can go, bring down the chest, and that will snap into place, and that will help hold, you want to get it as good as it can. Bring down this back panel, angle the doors back just a touch. At least that's what they show you in the instructions. Who knows? Finally, rotate the arms at that mushroom joint right above the elbow, and then rotate the wheels forward and bring the arms down to the side. Just like so. And there we have Skids in its robot mode. And I gotta say, little impressed by how the figure looks. Little impressed. Nice update to the classic character. And here's a cool thing. The head on a ball joint, that panel is attached to the head, so the whole thing moves. Going through the whole articulation, you have that nice knee bend, ankle pivot, universal joints at the shoulders. You've got a lot of movement there. You do have even some waist swivel, and you got a little bit of the rocking there from that transformation joint, but not too bad. Much like on Bulkhead, the figure is kind of tight. The joints are kind of tight, and I'm kind of digging that. I really am. Let's bring in his accessories. You can peg the weapons in the hand, but if you remember the original G1 Skids, they are really meant to peg into the forearm. That's how you do it. And the axe can be held upright in the hand like that. As you can see, this is what I was talking about with that piece right there sticking up. But when you have it in the forearm, it actually doesn't look too bad. Would have been nice if you could put it on the side, but there you go. There is your Skids in robot mode. Lots of options, as we said, with the weapons. It does have those 5mm ports if you want to armor the figure up. So yeah, that's about it for the robot mode and the review. So we'll come back with my final thoughts. I think Skids is a great figure and a great way to start off the Legacy line for the deluxe class. Even though these aren't numbered, so I don't know if it's the first figure. It may not be your first figure, but it's my first figure, and I think it's a great way to start. Some of the issues I have is, those plastic, clear plastic bits on the doors, the hood, the windshield. You got to be careful going into vehicle mode, making sure everything pegs together. If that hood is not coming down, it might be a tolerance issue, or you just may not have something lined up properly. Like as I mentioned, make sure you keep an eye on that hip section. Other than that, I really don't have too many problems with them, and I think it would be a great figure to add to your collection. We don't have that many Skids figures, especially ones that are, of that G1-ish ilk. So there is that. But that's about it for the review. If you like this review, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. While I will always appreciate the views, your likes, comments, and subscriptions help to communicate to YouTube through their algorithms that my channel should be exalted and held upon high. If you want to make the ultimate sign of support to my channel, I do have a Patreon. It is www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. All I ask for is $1 a month, $12 a year. No thrills, no tiers, no special rewards. Really, all you're doing is helping me help you, help me to help you bring figures like Skids to you, as well as keeping up the infrastructure of the channel. I've mentioned this on social media, and if you're not following me on Twitter or Instagram, ChuckDog1999, why not? Do have some fun there. Do post my little witty quips every now and then. But as I mentioned, I am looking to getting some different backdrops for the Folio system. They have come out with some different colored ones, which I think might just liven things up a little. Don't you guys agree? But that's what, stuff like the Patreon will go towards and stuff like that. But as I always say, if you can't handle the $1 a month, $12 a year, your views are more than thanks enough. Patreon is a cherry on top of an already generous sundae. So, this is your old pal Chuck for Legacy Skids. We will see you next time.